778. Okay. You think it's funny? You have a gastric bypass.
I had a gastric bypass,
to
yes.
lose weight.
Charity Pierce, known for her participation in My 600 Pounds Life, faced one of the toughest battles of her life, an extreme weight of 778 pounds that threatened to take away her future. Her journey of overcoming is both heartbreaking and inspiring. How did she manage to turn her life around? Here we tell you all about her incredible journey. In this video, we explore the transformation journey of Charity Pierce, a woman who, despite the magnitude of her struggle with obesity, decided to take control of her life. From the difficult physical limitations she faced to her decision to undergo bariatric surgery, Charity showed extraordinary strength. Join us as we uncover the most significant moments of her process and what has happened in her life after My 600 Pounds Life. Charity Pierce's daily struggles. Charity Pierce's life was a constant battle against the burden of her own body. Every movement required monumental effort, and every step was a challenge in itself. Everyday tasks that most people take for granted became insurmountable obstacles, constantly reminding her of the limitations imposed by her extreme weight. To carry out the simplest activities like getting out of bed or using the bathroom, she depended on the constant help of her daughter Charlie and her partner Tony, who acted as her unwavering support. Charity's physical difficulties were especially evident when she tried to do tasks like cooking. Something that was once a source of pleasure and connection became an exhausting activity. Due to her inability to stand for long periods or handle the complexity of preparing meals, she delegated these tasks to Charlie and Tony, who took on the responsibility of cooking. As a result, her diet was limited to fast food and takeout, increasing her frustration and longing for better nutrition. The desire to improve her eating habits was clear, but circumstances made it nearly impossible. Each outing from home represented an even greater challenge. Charity's size made it difficult not only to move in tight spaces, but also to get into vehicles. This limitation caused her discomfort and, in many cases, embarrassment. Social interactions, which for others can be simple and natural, became anxiety-filled situations. She avoided situations where she felt she would be judged or ridiculed. Even something as simple as going to the mall with her daughter became an act filled with doubts about her appearance. Medical visits, essential for her health, required extensive planning and at times the assistance of specialized medical personnel who even needed ambulances to transport her safely. This reflected how serious her mobility issues were and the difficulty she had accessing the necessary medical care. At home, Charlie became Charity's lifeline. She not only took care of the physical support needed for daily tasks, but also provided invaluable emotional support. Charlie took on the caregiver role with great dedication and love, making sure Charity never felt alone in her daily struggle. Whether helping her bathe, dress, or simply manage everyday routines, Charlie provided constant care, reminding Charity that her family's love was always by her side. Despite everything, the challenge of living with extreme weight did not go away, and even with all of Charlie's help, Charity faced other difficulties. One of the most constant struggles was the inability to find clothes that fit well. The available sizes were insufficient to meet her needs, which increased her discomfort and sense of insecurity. She wore oversized clothing, which not only was uncomfortable, but also accentuated her insecurities. Charity constantly felt exposed, and the challenge of finding acceptance, both from herself and from others, weighed heavily on her. This constant reminder of her physical limitations became an emotional burden that was hard to bear. Despite the numerous difficulties, Charity never let her physical limitations define her life. Every day was a new opportunity to face obstacles with an unstoppable determination. With the support of Charlie and Tony, she found the strength to keep fighting. The love of her family was her source of motivation, allowing her to maintain hope that despite everything, they could overcome any challenge life threw at them. The dangers of obesity. Health risks for Charity Pierce. Obesity not only affects appearance, but is also a serious medical condition with profound consequences for health. Charity Pierce's case, weighing 778 pounds, highlights the severe risks associated with extreme obesity. But what makes obesity so dangerous? Let's explore this. Obesity is measured using the body mass index, BMI, which classifies people into categories such as overweight or obese. Charity, with a BMI that placed her in the morbid obesity category, faced significant risks, especially for her heart and vital organs. Extreme weight puts tremendous pressure on the body, leading to a range of critical health problems. One of the greatest dangers is the impact on the heart. Obesity is strongly linked to cardiovascular diseases, including hypertension, high cholesterol, and type 2 diabetes. These factors significantly increase the risk of heart attacks and strokes. Having to pump more blood, the heart is forced to work harder, which can lead to heart failure if not managed in time. But the risks don't stop there. Obesity is also a major factor in the development of type 2 diabetes and certain types of cancer, such as breast and colon cancer. In addition, excess weight puts pressure on the joints, causing chronic pain and increasing the risk of osteoarthritis. Extra weight affects the body in complex ways, causing both physical and emotional difficulties. Obesity not only affects the body, but also the mind. Many people with obesity face social discrimination, which can contribute to depression and anxiety. Social stigma and physical limitations can lead to low self-esteem, causing people to isolate themselves and avoid social situations, such as the ones Charity experienced when she felt uncomfortable leaving the house. This isolation can worsen mental and emotional health, creating a difficult cycle to break. Despite this, Charity kept fighting. With her family's support, she began to address both the physical and emotional challenges her condition imposed on her. Overcoming obesity is a long and complex process that involves not only losing weight, but also changing lifestyle habits and, in many cases, receiving medical intervention. Charity's story highlights the importance of taking steps to reduce the risks associated with obesity. It's not just about improving appearance, but about taking care of the body and health in the long term. In summary, obesity is a condition that affects physical, mental, and social well-being. The risks are severe, but recognizing them and taking action in time can significantly improve quality of life. Charity Pierce's struggle shows that while the road to recovery is difficult, with support and determination, many of the challenges that come with obesity can be overcome. The beginning of her struggle. Charity Pierce's childhood. Charity Pierce's path to obesity was the result of a series of challenges that began in her childhood, long before she became a recognized figure for her fight against obesity. She grew up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, in a home where emotional instability and abuse were constant. Her father, trapped in the grip of alcoholism, took out his frustration on the family, creating an environment of violence and pain. Every night, Charity witnessed her father's attacks, her mother's suffering, and his breakdowns, images that would forever be imprinted in her mind. Feeling isolated and neglected, Charity sought solace wherever she could, in food. At the age of 10, she began to turn to overeating as a way to escape the tension at home. Ice cream, chocolates, chips, any food she could find became her refuge. These snacks, which initially provided temporary relief from her emotional pain, began to play a destructive role in her life, forming a cycle she couldn't easily break. As Charity grew older, her relationship with food became increasingly unhealthy. Family support remained limited, and the pressure from her dysfunctional home life continued to weigh on her. By the time she entered adolescence, food had become her only outlet to cope with the chaos around her. During her school years, she began to experience bullying, ridiculed for her physical appearance. Although she tried to ignore the taunts, the cruel comments slowly eroded her self-esteem and emotionally scarred her. But despite these attacks, Charity didn't give up. She adopted a rebellious stance to face the cruelty of others, trying to prove that her worth wasn't defined by her weight or by what others thought of her. However, the internal battle between self-acceptance and emotional pain was constant. Charity's life took a tragic turn in 2001 when she suffered an accident that left her bedridden, unable to move or engage in physical activities. This event further worsened her habit of eating to deal with physical and emotional pain. The lack of mobility intensified her dependence on food, leading to significant weight gain and even more fragile health. For Charity, every pound gained represented not only a physical problem, but also a way of carrying the emotional pain she had been dragging since her childhood. At that time, obesity for Charity was not just a medical condition, it was an outward manifestation of her deepest fears and silent suffering. Food became a way to fill the emptiness left by abandonment and emotional pain, a cry for help without saying a word. Despite this destructive cycle, Charity never lost hope. She still believed there was a chance for redemption and healing. Her journey to recovery had only just begun. Turning point. The beginning of her transformation. Charity Pierce's life took a decisive turn in 2015, when, at 39 years old, she decided to take control of her destiny. The trigger was a personal dream: to wear her wedding dress and marry her love, Tony. She imagined the perfect day, filled with love and happiness. This dream became the spark that ignited her transformation process, pushing her to make the brave decision to change her life. That same year, the show My 600 Pounds Life became interested in her story. Upon hearing about her battle with obesity, the producers reached out to Charity. With an alarming weight of 778 pounds, she was known in her community for her struggles, but this would be her opportunity to receive professional help. It was then that Dr. Nozaruddin, one of the most renowned bariatric surgeons, intervened and arranged for her to be transferred to Houston for specialized treatment. In Houston, Charity began a strict weight loss plan designed to improve her health quickly. Under Dr. Now's supervision, her calorie intake was reduced to between 1,000 and 1,200 calories a day, eliminating processed and sugary foods. Every aspect of her diet was monitored, and the medical team supported her at every step, ensuring she stuck to the regimen. Although the process was challenging, Charity was determined to reach her goal. Despite the difficulties, Charity's willpower was unstoppable. The love she felt for Tony and her dream of getting married gave her the motivation she needed to stay focused on the drastic changes she was going through. After 3 months of medical follow-up, Charity had lost over 100 pounds. Her progress was impressive, but Dr. Now warned her that there was still a long road ahead. Back in her hometown, Charity continued to struggle, not just with weight loss, but with other personal challenges. Her daughter Charlie was facing emotional difficulties due to her mother's absence, and she turned to food to cope with the pain. At the same time, Charity was preparing for a crucial step in her journey: gastric bypass surgery, which promised to bring an even more significant change in her fight against obesity. After a successful surgery, Charity returned home, filled with hope and confidence. As Charity continued to lose weight, she soon realized that the transformation was much more than just a physical change. The shift she was experiencing was holistic, affecting not only her health, but also her emotional and mental well-being. She decided that to achieve a full recovery, she needed to address the emotional issues that had led to her unhealthy relationship with food. It was then that Charity began working with a specialized therapist who helped her explore the emotional traumas and childhood experiences directly linked to her destructive eating habits. In therapy, Charity identified that food had not only served as comfort, but also as a way to cope with loneliness, anxiety, and feelings of inadequacy that had marked her life for years. This was a key moment in her recovery as she understood to her weight issues. Throughout her journey, Charity learned to adopt new habits that helped her heal. Therapy sessions taught her effective coping strategies such as mindfulness and stress management techniques. These methods replaced the binge-eating behaviors she had used to numb her emotions. Moreover, with Tony's support, Charity began experimenting with healthy cooking. Together, they learned to prepare nutritious meals, transforming mealtime into a time of connection and enjoyment. Through this process, Charity realized that she was not only changing her body, but also her approach to life and health. The transformation involved not just modifying her eating habits, but also changing the way she viewed herself. Charity began to challenge the negative thoughts that used to dominate her mind, replacing them with self-compassion and acceptance. This mental renewal was essential for her long-term success, as it allowed her to make healthier decisions and face challenges with a new perspective. Although Charity had made significant progress, obstacles didn't disappear immediately. Even after surgery, temptations and cravings continued to be a challenge. Still, Charity kept seeking help and support. She recognized that her problems with food went beyond physical cravings and accepted that she needed to continue her emotional healing process. Through therapy, Charity dug deeper into the roots of her relationship with food, identifying how loneliness and emotional pain drove her behavior patterns. With each session, she learned to confront her emotions in a healthier way, replacing old habits with new approaches to managing stress and emotions. As her recovery progressed, Charity began making healthier food choices and saw food as a way to nourish her body, not as an escape. In this process, she felt more connected to her body, her partner, and her daughter. As Charity continued to face the challenges ahead, her determination remained strong, and her journey toward a healthier and fuller life was well underway. The tragic story of Sarah Jacobs, the dream that became a nightmare. In a small town, Sarah Jacobs lived with big dreams, although not always in the healthiest way. From a young age, she had admired public figures who stood out on television, such as Charity Pierce, one of the most well-known stars of My 600 Pounds Life. Charity, who had captivated the audience with her moving weight loss journey, became a role model for Sarah, who saw in her story an example of strength and perseverance. However, Sarah didn't just admire Charity, she also aspired to live a similar life. She wanted to become a public figure, famous for her struggle with obesity, just like Charity. Over the years, Sarah began to steadily gain weight, unaware that her efforts to emulate her idol would lead her down a much darker and dangerous path. She didn't just want to lose weight, she thought that by gaining much more weight, she could attract the same media attention as Charity. Her goal, at first, was very different from Charity's, but unknowingly, she began to follow the same path of physical and emotional suffering. Sarah's desire to achieve the recognition that Charity had quickly garnered became an obsession. Over time, her health began to deteriorate. The more weight she gained, the more she relied on food to fill the emotional void she felt. This unhealthy relationship with food, combined with her growing obesity, led her into a much more serious situation than she had imagined. As her weight increased, Sarah began to lose the ability to perform the simplest tasks of daily life. At first, she thought these difficulties were just part of the process, but soon realized that she had gone too far. Now bedridden with severe mobility issues, Sarah faced a life of constant pain and medical complications. Far from the fame and recognition she had sought, Sarah found herself trapped in a bleak reality where every day was a struggle for survival. Sarah's health continued to worsen, and what had started as a dream of fame and recognition turned into a physical and emotional confinement. As her weight further limited her, she became increasingly isolated from social life. She could no longer leave the house or engage in everyday activities like shopping or visiting friends. The relationship she had with food transformed into a vicious cycle of binge eating that kept her trapped in her pain. The isolation also severely affected her mental well-being. Although Sarah had sought fame by following in Charity Pierce's footsteps, she now faced a much darker reality. Instead of being recognized for her bravery, she found herself completely alone, without support and with no media attention. This disconnect from society and the failure of her expectations created a deep emotional void, which only deepened as her health continued to deteriorate. A path of strength and transformation. Throughout her therapeutic process, Charity began to see herself in a completely new way. Each therapy session brought her closer to a version of herself she had never imagined. She learned to celebrate small victories, recognizing that every step forward, no matter how small, was a move toward a fuller life. She also understood the importance of self-compassion and allowed herself to let go of past mistakes. Therapy, which initially seemed like just a mental health support, became a key tool in her physical and emotional healing process. After more than a year of constant work and dedication, Charity faced a significant milestone in her life. During a medical consultation, she stepped onto the scale, fearful of what she would see, but hopeful that her efforts had paid off. To her surprise and joy, she saw that she had dropped below 600 pounds, which allowed her to qualify for skin removal surgery, a crucial stage in her journey. With tears of emotion, she realized that she had accomplished something significant, something she had never imagined possible. This achievement was not just physical, but also emotional. Every pound lost represented a victory over pain and hardship, and Charity understood that the transformation process involved both body and mind. However, what seemed like the beginning of a new chapter in her life would soon be overshadowed by an unexpected tragedy. While preparing for the skin removal surgery, Charity received news that would change the course of her life. Her mother had passed away from brain cancer. The woman who had always been by her side, the source of her unconditional support, was no longer there. This emotional blow caused her whole world to collapse. The pain of loss, combined with stress and sadness, forced Charity to face one of the toughest tests of her life. Grief overwhelmed her, and the mourning consumed her. In the midst of this suffering, the temptation to turn to food for comfort appeared again. But Charity, despite her deep sorrow, decided not to give in to old habits. Instead of surrendering, she fought against her pain and refused to let it derail her journey. In a moment of anguish and loneliness, Charity found the strength to move forward. She decided to continue her transformation process, remembering the love and support of her mother, who had always believed in her. With determination, she proceeded with the skin removal surgery, an important step toward restoring her health. The surgery was a success, and Charity began to see the results not just in her body, but also in her mind and spirit. Every day, she moved closer to the version of herself she had always dreamed of being. Despite the painful loss of her mother, Charity used that sadness as fuel to keep fighting for her life and health. After the surgery, Charity continued her transformation journey. She didn't just undergo additional surgical procedures, but also adopted healthier habits in her daily life. The weight loss wasn't easy, and the road was full of challenges, but every step she took brought her closer to a new way of living. Charity's healing process was both physical and emotional. She learned to face her fears, manage the pain of loss, and move forward with renewed strength. As her body changed, so did her mind, transforming her relationship with food, herself, and the world around her. Although marked by her pain, Charity rose stronger than ever, proving that resilience and determination can overcome even the toughest challenges. Post-surgery complications and new challenges in Charity's journey. After undergoing skin removal surgery, Charity Pierce faced unexpected complications that tested her resilience. Although she had made significant progress in her transformation, her recovery was not easy. She developed cellulitis infections that required urgent hospitalization. Dr. Now, concerned for her well-being, performed a second surgery to remove 38 pounds of excess tissue from her abdomen. Charity spent over 2 months in the hospital recovering, a period that felt endless due to the constant battle against infections. Despite these difficulties, Charity remained determined to continue her journey toward a healthier life. However, the battle did not end there. A few months later, the infection returned with full force, leading to a third surgery to prevent septic shock, a life-threatening complication. These setbacks became a constant reminder of how tough the recovery process was. But Charity did not let the difficulties defeat her. Amid the physical adversity, Charity faced another devastating blow in her personal life. Her fiancé, Tony, unexpectedly ended their engagement, and began a relationship with Charity's sister. This betrayal was a profound blow to Charity, who not only had to deal with the pain of losing her mother, but also with the anguish of such a close betrayal. The pain of the betrayal left her bewildered and deeply hurt, questioning the trust in relationships she had once considered unbreakable. This difficult situation was addressed in a 2019 follow-up episode of My 600 Pounds Life. Where are they now? During this episode, Charity, Tony, and her daughter Charlie returned to Iowa to reconnect with family. The visit, which was originally meant to be a healing occasion, turned bitter when Tony began a romance with Charity's sister, causing palpable tension during the trip. The betrayal and sadness intertwined, leaving Charity in a fragile emotional state. To cope with both the mourning of her mother and Tony's betrayal, Charity turned to unhealthy coping mechanisms: food, alcohol, and cigarettes. These emotional setbacks were a response to her pain, but despite the temptation, Charity never lost sight of her goal to improve her health. Her resilience and determination began to resurface, and eventually, she regained control of her life, losing 29 pounds in the process. In the following months, Charity faced further twists in her personal life that complicated her journey. The news that her sister was expecting a baby with Tony added a new source of stress, but Charity, determined not to be defeated, continued to focus on her well-being. Thanks to her hard work and perseverance, Charity managed to lose an additional 41 pounds, bringing her even closer to her health goals. This enabled her to qualify for another skin removal surgery, which represented a significant achievement in her transformation. However, this new step was not without complications. During her third surgery, Dr. Now removed 15.2 pounds of excess skin from her legs, but during the recovery, Charity struggled with intense pain. Although Dr. Now advised that she didn't need further medication, Charity, desperate for relief, turned to non-prescribed painkillers. Tragically, this resulted in an overdose that left her unconscious, requiring urgent medical intervention. Dr. Now quickly and expertly stabilized her, but the incident left a mark on her relationship with her medical team. The medication abuse was a reminder of the complexities of Charity's struggles, not just physical, but emotional as well. However, this episode also served as an important wake-up call about the dangers of self-medication and the effects of desperation in moments of extreme pain. Despite this setback, Charity continued to work with her medical team and loved ones to overcome the underlying emotional difficulties that contributed to her poor decisions. During this time, Charity lost a total of 113 pounds, a significant step forward that brought her closer to her health goals. However, in December 2019, Charity received an alarming diagnosis: kidney cancer. This new challenge brought painful memories of her mother's battle with cancer, intensifying Charity's anxiety about her own health. However, she acted quickly and underwent surgery in March 2020 to remove the affected kidney, preventing the cancer from spreading. The surgery was successful, and her recovery gave her renewed hope, further strengthening her determination to overcome this obstacle. Charity shared updates on her recovery through social media, where her followers saw how she remained optimistic and focused on her health. In an emotional post, she detailed her surgery process and the constant support of her family, especially her daughter Charlie. Throughout this time, Charity remained committed to her weight loss and well-being, and her relationship with her daughter continued to grow stronger. In 2016, during a special episode of My 600 Pounds Life, Where Are They Now?, viewers saw Charlie struggling with her own relationship with food, reaching a weight of 390 pounds. This episode showcased how her mother's journey inspired Charlie to start her own path to health. After losing 14 pounds, Charlie decided to take drastic steps and underwent gastric band surgery, which allowed her to lose an impressive amount of weight, dropping from 385 pounds to 154 pounds. Charlie's transformation was not only physical, but emotional, and it served as an inspiration for many. 4 years after her surgery, Charity reached a significant milestone, weighing less than 200 pounds. Her story, alongside her daughter's success, became a testament to human resilience, proving that with dedication and hard work, even the biggest obstacles can be overcome. In a 2020 episode of My 600 Pounds Life, Where Are They Now?, Charity and Charlie briefly separated when Charlie decided to return to Iowa to focus on her own health. During this time, Charlie lost 90 pounds, a remarkable achievement that marked the beginning of a new phase in her life. Meanwhile, Charity continued to fight to stay on track, battling her old habits and always seeking the support of her family. When mother and daughter reunited in Iowa, they both committed to supporting each other. Charity reaffirmed her commitment to her health, and with Charlie's support, she was able to lose even more weight, reaching an important milestone by reducing her weight to under 300 pounds. The journey of Charity and Charlie, though filled with challenges, is also a story of success and transformation. By the end of her journey, Charity embraced her role as a grandmother, sharing joyful moments with her granddaughter and showing herself as a vibrant and full-of-life person. In March 2023, she shared joyful news. Her daughter Charlie was expecting a baby, marking the beginning of a new chapter of happiness and renewal in their lives. These stories of struggle, overcoming, and family love have served as inspiration for countless people worldwide. Charity and Charlie proved that with determination and mutual support, any challenge, no matter how big, can be overcome. What do you think about Charity's incredible journey? We'd love to hear your thoughts, share your comments, and don't miss the next chapter of this inspiring story. See you soon!